Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Shane, for being here and for answering these questions. I want to go back. One of my colleagues earlier in this hearing, Representative Palmer, I believe you were talking about the fact that a lot of these children are coming to America to escape the violence in some of the cities in Central America. And as Representative Palmer pointed out, actually some of the cities, quite a few of our metropolitan areas here in America have a higher violence rate than they do in Central America. For instance, Baltimore and St. Louis, where they've defunded the police, both have significantly higher violence rates. Are we sending any of those children to those two cities, to Baltimore and St. Louis? I mean, wouldn't you agree that that'd be like take them out of frying pan and put them into the fire?
We can certainly get you information about where children in ORR custody go when they go to a sponsor. We have that breakdown by state and by county, and we update that monthly. We're happy to share that with you.
Well, I'd certainly like to see that information. I think it would be good for the committee to see, because if indeed this is the problem that exists, and that is they're trying to escape violence in some of these areas in Central America, and we're sending them to cities that actually have a higher violence rate, how can you say that's humanitarian? I'm baffled by that. Nevertheless, I want to move on, and I want to tell you that I wanted to mention the reports that came out about the allegations of neglect and abuse at an ORR facility in San Antonio or earlier this year, where they were holding more than 1,600 unaccompanied children. Ms. Shane, I've been to the border. Unlike the vice president, unlike the president, I've been down there and I've seen it firsthand. I've looked into the eyes of those children, regardless of whether you agree with the policy that is being implemented down there, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, to look into the eyes of those children, to see the fear in those children's eyes, to just look at them and to see and witness the overcrowding and what's happening down there. It is simply a humanitarian crisis. There is no question about that. But specifically to the problem in San Antonio, I want to ask you, were these allegations reported to the appropriate investigative entities?
Sir, if the allegations that you're talking about are the same ones I'm thinking about, then yes, absolutely. We also ensure that all of our staff, our contractors, our federal volunteers are fully trained and educated on the importance of reporting any incident that raises concerns, and if those incidents involve any allegations of abuse or neglect, we then immediately report that to law enforcement, child protection services, whatever the law requires. We take child safety very seriously.
Okay, so I am to assume, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that those allegations in San Antonio are being fully investigated?
So, sir, again, I'm not sure exactly if we're thinking about the same ones, but yes, any allegations that come up, whether it's in San Antonio or any other site, are fully investigated.
And we will know about them. This committee specifically will know about those and the results of the investigations.
I will have to check with our legal counsel, but to the extent we are able to share information protecting and following laws about sharing that information, we are absolutely happy to do that.
Well, I'm sorry, there are laws that said that you would not release that information, or?
So I can only speak from my experience in child welfare. There are certainly privacy protections in place that prevent the reporting of information about individual cases or active investigations. So I just want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence and not overpromise, but anything we can share with you, sir, we will.
Okay, I want to ask you about another incident real quick. NBC News had reported last month about an incident about some migrant children that were stuck on parked buses out overnight before going to a facility or a sponsor outside an HHH facility in Dallas, and I assume you're familiar with that. Do you have any updates on that investigation?
Yes, we immediately looked into that incident. It was terrible. No child should have been on a bus that child was. It is unacceptable behavior and actions. We took immediate action with the contractor who was in charge of that particular transportation. We have worked with them. I'm still working with them. They're actually co-located here, so we can ensure that something like that never happens again. And I'm really pleased to say that that child is safe and they are safely with their family right now.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Kay.
I thank the gentleman. This